Alrighty, folks. Good afternoon. Gonna fire up a lunch stream here just past 1 o'clock on the East Coast, so all the arenas have reset. Got a whole new set of milestones. Doesn't look like anything as far as any new good deals or anything like that, since those reset now as well. So I figure I'm going to jump in here and we can just start going through the milestones. I've already done my war fights for this war, and since we do have a couple day break, I have turned on the recoil masteries, and I'm just going to go to town and get these started and get them running. I have a feeling this will probably be maybe about an hour long stream, hour and a half, something like that. While I'm on lunch, I do have a couple meetings this afternoon, so won't be able to spend all day doing this. But, you know, figure if I was going to go ahead and do some fights, might as well go ahead and try to stream it at the same time. So hopefully everybody's Monday is going well, as at least as well as it can be for a Monday. I will put the other disclaimer out there. If you do hear some dings and Windows sounds and all that, it is probably just my computer. I am at my desk where I normally work from, and my work computer is here beside me, so it may get picked up on as we go through. Um, Hopefully, volume wise, everything's okay. I did buy a new mic over the weekend. I did some streaming and some recording with it yesterday. It's a little bit more sensitive than my previous mic, so it may just pick up a little bit more, and I may not have to talk quite as loud or anything like that, or I may need to turn game sounds up. If anybody wants to, when they join in here, if anybody wants to let me know, I'll ask you when I see somebody in here. Other than that, like I said, just going to kind of go through my routine of getting these arenas started. Typically, what I do is get the 5-star started, or the regular arena started with my 5 stars. And then I'll jump over to the featured arena where I'll do my 6-star champions. And typically, all I do is I sort and bring the lowest ones in first, run 10 matches that way, and then kind of go on to, once that's done, and I've started that infinite streak. I'm going to pause here and be right back with you. 1 second. Sorry about that. Getting a little bit of a cold and had to sneeze. So I'll run these lower end ones through the kind of the first 10 rounds of arena, and then after that I take in my upper end champions to kind of get on the infinite streak and just go from there. With the regular arena, it takes me it takes me starting the arena and 3 runs through just my rank 5s, to be complete. On the 6-star arena, I can do it in 2 runs of my rank 4 and 5s and my 7 stars. So, really doesn't take a whole lot of time to gather up all the milestones and get this done. The longest part of it is just getting the streak started. Once I do that, it's, kind of easy and simple from there. It's mindless. I know why a lot of people do not like doing arena. I understand it, but it's safe. There's not usually the worst part really is getting this started. But there's not been a week that goes by that I don't go ahead and, work on these milestones and get them done. It's a great source of units. It's a great source of battle chips. Even I'm not free to play, but I still do it. The other nice thing is it does, although the AI in the beginning is really bad, it does give you a chance to practice with some champs in a really safe environment. You kind of have to take for granted that the AI in Arena is super, super painful. A lot of times they don't want to throw specials, they're very passive. It's kind of that, early alliance quest, early questing type AI. Uh, you know, so you kind of have to deal with that. That does slow you down, but even with it, I think, I'll get these first 20 rounds out of the way maybe in about, like I said, in about an hour, since I am running with recoils on. So, in about an hour you get started. It takes me maybe an hour again to run my rank 5s, maybe an hour and a half. If I'm running both the 5-star and the 6-star back to back. But 3-4 hours, over the course of 3 days, very easy to get all of it done. I'm going to be in the game. I'm going to play. I'm going to do something. There's not always new content to do. Fortunately, we do have the Karina 7-for-7 trial, which I am done on. Did open my first Titan crystal. Have that video posted on the channel. Feel free to watch it if you want to. It wasn't, in my opinion, wasn't the greatest opening, but you never know. So it was the first one. It's nice. I've got some other things that I want to open up and some rewards that I've shown, but I'm gonna save those up probably and do an opening once the battleground season's over. I don't think I'm going to go any higher than what I am. I stop at about 100, and I think I'm about 180 points. My fear is I could go up some, but I could also go down some. I'm just at a comfortable spot. I may look at where it is Wednesday morning and just see if I can grind out maybe the next tier, depending on what the rewards are and how far I drop. But I'm comfortable with that. That's kind of where I shoot for and what I aim for. My main goal is getting the 300 points, for the individual quest, or 300,000 points, helping out the alliance the best I can, getting the rewards I can throughout, and not stressing and not pushing the upper limits on it. I'm not that good. Probably wouldn't be one that could do that. So, I'm happy with that. I feel comfortable with where I am with BGs. If I try to push and do too much, I end up getting too stressed out, too mad, too tense, to a lot of things. So, I'm trying to take a new approach to the game, new approach to even war. This season has been much better for me. I'm very appreciative of my alliance leaders, the battle group leaders who plan our fights and all that. It has been much more relaxed environment for me. Granted, in a way, I feel guilty that I wish I could be doing more. There are people that take harder fights than me. There are people that take a lot more fights than me. But at the same time, I want to contribute the best way that I can to 4 Loki, and doing 10 or 11 war fights in a war isn't going to do it. Even doing 7 or 8 war fights probably isn't the best. Where I'm at, running, I think every war this season I've only had 4, which I'd like to do more than that. But, I'm fine there as well. But even if it is just 4 war fights, that's what's best for the Alliance. We've had a good season going. We're doing well. We had a bad start, which is our typical. But, we've climbed back up into Masters now. This war's against TCN, so it's going to be very, very tight, and is currently very, very tight as the fights are going on. I finished my fights up maybe about an hour ago. They went well. They were fights that a couple that I hadn't taken before. Used a champ that I hadn't brought to war in, quite a few seasons. Even off-season wars, I don't think I used this champ for a while. So I will probably be recording that shortly after I'm done here, and then we'll post it. Since I'm home, I can kind of do it a little bit different than what I do when I'm traveling and recording the war fights in an arena video like this, or arena stream like this, and clipping it out, which may be better, may be worse, I don't know. I'm enjoying doing those again now that I'm having a little bit better success in war. Fortunately, I do have a couple of the tactic attackers and one champion that excels far and beyond on Path 6B. I think I've used him almost every war. Very, very happy with that rank up, and just couldn't be happier with the way that at least my war season's going. My streak is building up as far as my deathless streak, which I never thought I'd have again. I think my first season in 4 Loki was probably my best. I died in my very first fight in my very first war with 4 Loki, but then the rest of that season I ended up on I think it was a 67 fight deathless streak before I died again, and the following season. There's been some seasons, last season and the season before, I got really, really frustrated. There were a couple wars where, I died 3 or 4 times, and multiples on the same fight. And that, to me is inexcusable. I'm glad the leaders and all that kind of overlooked it and said it was no big deal, but to me it was. It really bothered me. This season, like I said, I've been very fortunate. And I also like the way the map works now, much better than what it did previous seasons. Where you're able to kind of, okay, this AI, like I said, is bad, and the pause between is heavy, and there we go. Maybe I can hit him finally. Um, the way the map is now, where you can kind of do all your lane fights. You've got those 4 fights that you can stack right up right at the beginning, and then even if you've got any of the shared fights, you're able to just stack them one right after the other. One set of boosts. Yes, you have to buy some energy. That's fine. I will pay the 25 if I need 2 energy, or 60 if I want the whole energy refill to be able to complete everything on one set of boosts. Last season, was one of my probably most frustrating seasons. I was putting on, 30% champ boosts, 2, 3 times a war, and I was only taking, 5 or 6 fights. And to me, what ends up happening, and I think, part of my psyche was I was getting upset that I was not able to do everything on the same boost. Probably not boosting completely the way that I normally would. Typically with war, whether I need it or not, I like to do, the 30% champion boost, 20% health, 15% attack. So what would happen would be, I started noticing about halfway through the season, I was getting low on some of those bigger boosts. So I would do, maybe a 20% champion boost, and, or a 15% health boost, or something along those lines, or a combination, or both, or things like that. And some fights I would just be barely dying. Some fights I would realize, whoops, I don't have the damage output that I needed. That was a couple fights. Thinking of Gore in particular, there was just a couple times where I was fighting Gore, and he was, just his regen was just more than I could, keep at bay with the damage I was putting out. So, it's nice now that I'm able to do that. It's nice now that we're able to work through as a group and say, okay, I need a pre-fight on this fight. Are you available? Let's go ahead and get running. Everybody can get their fights done, kind of like what we used to before they did this 48-hour kind of attack phase. Speaking of which, I do need to bring up my chat because I do have some pre-fights I have to place in this war. So I want to keep an eye on that as people start moving through their fights. So you should be able to tell right with that one of the champs I've got in this war is just White Magneto. The other one, if you watched any of my war videos, you will know. And like I said, the third is one I probably hadn't used in war in multiple seasons and multiple off seasons. So it was nice to be able to use a different champ. It's a couple wars in a row using a couple different champs that I hadn't, used in the past. With being able to bring in Absman last war. That was nice. That was the first ever. Got a couple fights with him and, did decent. I didn't maximize his damage output, but at the same time, the fights were quick enough and I didn't die. So that to me is always a plus. And that's really all I'm going for. The other nice thing about the way the map is laid out, I've been able to minimize my 3-minute boosts, which is now kind of more important than it has been because of the fact that you can buy a loyalty 7-star champion. I was able to buy 2 of those right off the bat. I've got one more when it does reset in a couple weeks, I think, that I'll be able to do. So it'll be nice to be able to do that. I don't know if I'll do that next run or not. Depends on how the season ends up as far as my overall loyalty goes. Right now you can see I'm sitting at 2.5 million loyalty, so leave me about 1 million. My buffer that I want to keep is about 1.5. I want to keep enough for one of the crystals kind of at bay, and to make sure that I always have enough in there to buy health potions or things like that. I know I can buy them with units. I'm grinding arena after all. I could use my units there, but you know, if you tuned into any of my Karina 7 for 7 streams where I went through that, there are times when I run paths thinking of 7.4.5, 7.4.6. I didn't really have a counter for the lane that I took, and I get stubborn. I get 2 or 3 fights into it. It would probably be quicker and cheaper for me to reset, but I end up just kind of pushing through and using revives and using unit man and things like that. To me, I'm fine with that. Oops, I forgot he had Heimdall. And I walk into a special 2. There we go. Much easier for me just to do that. I get tilted at times, and it just makes me mad, and I just kind of brute force it. I kind of did the same thing with the time warp Kang or whatever his name is in 7.4. It didn't really have good champs with me. I had to bring champs for the path that I was taking that weren't really the greatest. And wow, man, this AI. Whew, I don't know where they get it. Oh, come on. I just want to heavy you. Good gosh, there we go. Just die. Oh, the heck with it. I'm just going to 5-hit combo. This is just painful. You can throw your special 3 if you want to. So I end up just kind of brute forcing it and using a couple revives. I still have revives. I still have plenty of the 4-hour crystals. I think I started with like 700 of them. Maybe you opened 100 of those to get some more heals and things like that. Got plenty coming up for 8.3. So that's kind of what this unit grind is for. Is more for that type of content than anything else. And saving units for those times where I might want to buy a unit deal or something like that if one comes along. Oops, missed that. That's always a consideration. And, I've got the units there if I need them. That way I'm not having to I don't want to have to pay money to complete content, I guess is the bottom line. I don't mind paying money for rank up resources. I'm getting to the point where I don't want to pay money for crystals. My luck has just been horrendous. I did get fairly fortunate with the incursions crystal, with what I was able to pull there, and get Hulkbuster. So I was pleased with that. But like my Titan crystal, the fact that with Paragons, I've opened 350, 400 or so over the several months that they've been out, and I've pulled 1 7-star, 1 total, and that was in the first 20. That was Bishop, so it was a good one that I pulled, but and that's between 2 different accounts. I have pulled 1 7-star, so I'm not going to waste units. I'm not going to spend the money there. To me that is pointless. I know people who do it. I know people who have good luck, and I know people who have success, but those type of crystals, Paragon crystals, the Cav crystals, the monthly ones that you get from the event quest, the even going back, the Grand Master crystals, and some of the other ones. I just if it gives me a choice of 3 to 5 stars, I'm getting a 3-star. If I get if it's 3 to 6 star, I'm getting a 3-star. If it's 4 to 6 star, I'm getting a 4-star. That is just the way those crystals go. I get the kind of the and I know that's the highest percentage, and I know the way the percentages work, and not saying that it's just bad RNG on my end. And I am at the point where I don't know if I want to throw money at things that are RNG based. I would rather throw my units at things that are RNG based. I have no problem using the units that I grind. I'm just going to go for this. Grinding arena for using the units that I grind arena for some of the RNG based stuff, but I don't know. Right now it's like I've got the materials, or I could, now that the store is reset, I could rank 2 either a tech, a mutant, or a cosmic champion. And I'm not sure if I've got anybody I want to rank up. I have a feeling I'm going to do Gore for defense, but you know, I was hoping through the Titan Crystal that I'd get somebody exciting, a Photon, a Gladiator, a Vox, a something like that I could actually use on attack and feel excited about. Those are kind of what I was looking for there. But at the same time, bolstering my Alliance War defense isn't going to hurt. I don't have a champ on there that's below an R5. I've got a couple R2s that I place. Not that it's absolutely needed for defense, but the health pool on an R2 is significantly more. In war. I fought 4 fights today. I think 3 of the 4 were R2s. All of them had about 300k health. All that means is it's another 5-hit combo, another special attack that you've got to throw to get them down versus an R5, which may be the difference between coming through clean, or you may miss the parry on that last one that you're trying to get and get 5-hit comboed into oblivion. So that's a possibility. So the more R2s that we can put out there, the beefier our defense gets, and the more chance for people to make a mistake. The other area that comes into play is in time. We have lost wars, recently that we've tied and we've lost because of time. So being able to have defenders with more health, higher champ bonus to cut down on, to have to overcome, kind of lowers the offensive ability accuracy a little bit, I think. Maybe not lowers it, but just makes it harder for things to trigger. So the more, it just makes it nice and beefy. All right, so there is the basic arena started. Let's jump over, and we're going to do the featured arena, not 7-star, we want 6-star. I don't even know how many rank 1s. Do I have enough rank 1s to do it anymore? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Yeah, I've got plenty. I'm going to do rank 2s, though. Rank 2s go a little bit quicker, a few more points, get me started with. And the rank 1s are champs that I just have no desire in ranking up. So let's just go this way. And one of the crystals I get to open here fairly soon for a spoiler is the Awakening on this guy. I did form that over the weekend. And I finally got the last piece from the selector that we got from the calendar to where I can now awaken him. Which will be nice. I didn't want to use an Awakening gem, although I don't mean to do that. I think I've got 9 generic, bunch of class, and I think I've got maybe 3 or 4 champions that are 6-star that aren't awakened. I could have them all awakened, but the ones that aren't awakened, I have no desire to waste a gem on. You never know when that champion's going to come along that's going to be the one that you want. I haven't been fortunate with this past featured crystal. I didn't open a lot. I was saving for 7-star shards. But, I don't have Sandman. I don't have Moondragon and a couple of the others that are in it. So, just kind of saving, and maybe I'll pull one of those. God, I hate this AI. So, that's kind of why I save those, is maybe for somebody like that. But other than that, it's just, you'll see as I'm running through these, my 6-stars, that, like I said, most of them are awakened. Not high sig. But no sense throwing an awakening gem into plat pool. I'm not going to use them for anything. I don't need the awakened ability. you know, I'm saving those for, like I said, those champs that I'm going to pull that will have a use. You know, the Lady Deathstrike, when I got her as a prize from the Kabam live stream, got her, put an Awakening Gem right in her. It's nice to have those sitting around to be able to do that. Outside of that, I would love, the other thing that I was really hoping for recently that they didn't do in that trade-in store was where we were going to be able to trade in, Awakening Gems. I would have loved to have been able to trade in. Heck, I would have gone, 7 or 8, maybe even up to 10, 6-star generic Awakening Gems for a 7-star one. I don't think it would be worth all of it. I don't think it would be smart. But the way the Awakening Gems are coming for 6 stars now, that might not have been a bad thing to have, and to be able to do, instead of the way they ran that event. It ended up being okay. That loyalty crystal that you could get, where you could either choose the 7-star crystal or being able to get a 4 to 5 gem. If that was a 4 to 5, either generic or selector, I probably would have done that over the 7-star champion. But I did end up choosing the 7-star champion for it, which was okay. I got a decent champ out of it. I'm not going to complain. I think out of that one, who did I pull out of that one? Might have been, I'd have to go back and look. I think that was Arcus that I got out of that one. But, so it was, not a bad reward, but I think that overall the event could have been a little bit better. Pleased with that last little section of it. Pleased with the fact that they introduced this loyalty crystal, another way to get a 7-star champion, in a manner that I think is achievable for a lot. I was able to even get 2 on my mini account because I do run Alliance War on that second account. It's lower level, but I don't spend any loyalty. I don't buy 3-minute boot crystals. I don't buy a lot of heals. Typically, I don't need them. Things like that. So I'm able to save up loyalty, and being able to get 2 more 7 stars through that actually opened it up to where I could get my incursions 7-star, because you need 8 7 stars in order to be able to open up and buy the incursions one. And at the time, I only had 6, so that allowed me to get 7 and 8, and utilize that reward. We've got Morbius coming up, which I'm looking forward to. I am really debating, since I don't have a champion that I necessarily want to rank up right now, instead of using the selectors that I can get through Battlegrounds for either taking Gore to rank 2, or maybe Hulkbuster to rank 2, or maybe Bishop to rank 2. Instead of using one of those there, I may use those towards science. I've got 1.5 science, I think. I think that's what I'm at. I think I'm at 1.5 science. I may save and use my science, use those selectors for the science T6CC. That may be. I don't know. So, things to consider, things to look at, things to kind of debate about here in my own head. I think overall, the timing wise, I think Legacy said it on his stream last night. To me, I would have loved, oh, come on. I would have loved the timing for 8.3 to be this Wednesday instead of next. This Wednesday, Battlegrounds ends. So we don't have Battlegrounds going on. There's really that week in between where Battlegrounds, granted, I am one of the people that, I can't really complain too much about content. I did blast through Karina's 7 for 7 fairly quick. So, I could have held that off until after Battlegrounds, which I know probably would have been a smarter idea to do. But I wanted to get it done. I wanted that Titan Crystal. I could, kind of taste it. It was so close. Um, so I did do that, but it would be nice to have it this coming week as well. Ugh, man, don't give me Maw to fight. Okay. Anyway, so that's kind of where my thoughts are for kind of everything in the game. I'm at a spot with the game where I'm happy with it. It's not. There's some things I'd like to improve. I could say that about every game that I've ever played, any game that I've ever purchased. You can't like everything about every game all the time. I don't think that perfect game has been made. But right now, I think, the game is in a pretty good shape. Yeah, there's some bugs. Yeah, there's some things I would fix. But, for the most part, like I said, I'm pleased. I'm happy. There are still parts that stress me out. There's still parts that I get tilted on. That whole, like I said, 7.4.5. I, did get tilted a little bit because I really didn't want to restart the path that I was running down. I could have, but I didn't. And it probably would have been. I was kind of rushing through. I was trying to get it done. I wanted the 7.4 stream. I had about 2 hours that I really wanted to devote to it. And the first 4 paths were done, I think, in like the first maybe 45 minutes, maybe an hour. I felt like I was in good shape to get everything done. 745 took me a while. I used one team revive in there, and it just took me a while. I didn't have champs that could kind of blast through it or cheese the path or anything like that, so it took me a while. And then 746 came along, and it was kind of painful. I didn't have what I needed for the path that I chose. I thought I did. I thought it was going to be easy. It's the one where you have to have 10 debuffs on them in a certain time frame, or they regen 25% of their health. I'm going in there with Shuri. I'm going in there with Black Cat. I'm going in there with Gore. All these champs that put on debuffs, and none of them are able to, for whatever reason, to get me to the 10 that I needed in the time frame. Black Cat, who was the one I was really thinking was going to be good for it, she kept failing the node, so I ended up not, the champion would end up with the debuff on him instead of cleansing it. So it was things like that, and then I just said, got to the point where I was near the end and I was mad and I was frustrated. My wife was wanting to do something, and here I'm at the 2.5 to 3 hour mark. I didn't want to stop where I was and then start up just another stream for the last chapter or the last couple fights. So I just kind of pushed through it, frustrated as could be. And then when I got to Timeless, Time Warp Kang, whatever his name is, just did not, champs I had were okay, and they did decent damage. And if I knew that once I got the fight and learned it and got it kind of down, it went better. It did take me a while to remember, this is the timing on the decks. This is, you can't do, 2 back-to-back the same thing in the first section, and then it's, you've got 2 of them that you got to look out for in the next. So it was things like that. But where I got upset there too was phase 3. I think they're supposed to take more damage from unique debuffs. So I was like, oh man, Gore is just going to tear him up, and it was a lot slower than what I thought it was going to be. That type of thing just kind of got to me, and like I said, I just kind of pushed through it and brute forced and said to heck with it. Ended up using champs that I knew weren't going to do well, just to throw at it and chip some of his health down. So I ended up using, 3, I think, team revives for that fight, just because, and didn't use any heals, didn't care. Just at that point, I was just ready to be done. I just wanted that Titan Crystal. I just wanted to open it, and that's what this arena grind is for. That's why I do it. If I need to use units for items, I don't feel bad about it. I'm going to be doing an incursions, Sector 6 run here probably in about a week to complete that and get the milestones and get another 7-star incursion crystal on my main account. You'll see there, I do the same thing. I look at the boss node just enough to make sure, just to make sure I'm not going to get completely blocked. But if it's a fight that you're gonna have to use 2 or 3 revives to get through it, that's fine. I'll use 2 or 3 revives. I'll pay for them. Don't mind that. That's kind of what the units are for. That's why, like I said many times, that's why I grind these milestones. It's also nice for gold. It's nice for the shards that you get. It does keep me with ISO. And come on. Let's say, come on and throw this special, Rintra, and you did right as I said it. There we go. Man, I hate this AI, like I've said. It gets painful from time to time. But, I am looking forward to 8.3. Like I said, I want to do my incursions push. I've got that coming up. I want to get that done before 8.3 hits. Just so it's out of the way so I don't have to worry about it, so I can focus on, oops, don't kill me. I want to get that done ahead of time so I don't have to worry about it later. And I can just, not that I will take my time with 8.3. I have a feeling I will do 6 streams probably for 8.3 depending on how hard they are. I'm not expecting the paths to be that, I expect them to be kind of the 8.2, 8.1 caliber. So really kind of planning and thinking it's going to be 6 streams, 100% 8.3.1, 100% 8.3.2, and do it that way, over a course of a week. Downside to it is some of those will be while I'm traveling. I will be in California again. I leave, that comes out the 18th. I leave the 21st, I think, for a week and a half. Part of that is work, part of that is vacation. Won't do any streams while I'm on the vacation part of it, I don't think. But may do, some things here and there. I'll probably record the couple war videos that'll be left. I think that's the last week of the season. We're 6 today. Yeah, so there'll be 1 or 2 more wars. I'll do my rewards opening. Those type of things I'll record because I can do those fairly quick, even on the road. But, for the most part, want to spend some time with my wife and all that since I've been traveling quite a bit. She's going to join me for the tail the tail end of this next trip. So it'll be nice. All right. Just fought Mantis in war. And this is what I'm saying about, the 7 stars for war and all that. You look at them, you look at right now, even in arena, they're just take a couple extra combos. You never know when that extra combo is going to be the one that you mess up on and you miss a parry and you eat it and that's it. With 7-star R2s, a lot of those, it's a 5-hit combo and you're dead. Period. That's it. End of story. No other way of doing it. You're going to take, heck, I think a couple of them, I did one that was a 7R2, I think, not too long ago. It may have, no, never mind, changed that. It was a 6R5. It was just Kitty with Iron Man. And I missed a intercept. She hit me twice. This is Iron Man with, I think he had 11 or 12 armor ups on. Hit me twice and took half my health. So, it doesn't take much of a mess up to ruin your day in Alliance War. And that's kind of one of that's the main thing I hate about it is, I like a little bit of room for error, which they've done a good job on some of the longer form content quests lately. That doesn't punish you quite as bad if you mess up. I'm not going to be perfect in fights usually. I'm not going to be able to pull off intercepts. I'm going to mess up a counter. I'm going to get hit by a heavy attack. Things like that. So having that little bit of cushion for me is nice. And the way war is now, there's not that cushion. I use a 3-minute boost of some flavor, I think, on every fight in these wars. This particular war, I used 3 different ones. Needed one for my first fight. I needed a regen one for my first fight. I didn't really need it, end up not needing it, but I put on an invulnerability boost for my second, and power start 1 for my third and fourth. To me, the time I don't use them, and I was blocking there. Why'd you throw your special? To me, having them on and not needing them is so much better than needing it and not having it on. So. All right. Where are we at? We're at 9 now. Last set for, let's run a set here. I think this is a synergy as well. Yeah. Yeah, not too bad. 45 minutes. Got it. Well, not even that maybe. I don't think I started right away. So not too bad to get all the first 10 done in both arenas. And I'll have a little bit of time to go on and do something else. Oops. Yeah, nice of you to throw your special there. All right. And then we get the Kang and Thanos teams for the next 5 rounds of each of the arenas that are every bit as much of a pain as these. I don't know what Kang and Thanos feed their champions, but man, they are beefy lads. I would like you to throw a special. Thank you. Although this probably will finish him, but I don't know. Not with Thor Rags. He does not have any damage output at all. Not at least for arena. Longer form content, he can do some things. And get up to that special 3 and get his shocks and all that going. Stun lock him a little bit. All right, let's see if we can get off 2 heavies. Go into our route. Now, come on, there you go. This should finish this. There we are. I do like Cole. Cole would be a champ that if I could maybe increase his block proficiency or could give him a outrageously large health pool, something like that. His damage output is great and he's fun to play. If you can consistently have an AI that will let you do some parry heavy, stuff like that. He is just to me one of the champs that's kind of fun. All right, let's go ahead and reset this, hit help a bunch of times. I really wish they would change this system to either a help all or an automated, as soon as the champ is done with the fight, it goes into the help. The other thing I hate about the help system is, not a lot of people in 4 Loki run arena, or if they do, they don't do what I'm doing right now and putting them out there. So, my helps will get cleared fairly quick. And then they'll pop up here again and get in my way when I'm trying to get my champions, and I'll have to hit help again. For the 6 stars, I usually hit help 2 or 3 times, and it's just kind of a bad system. I understand, back end wise why they do it, and that's part of some of the issues with MCOC. And we got to keep in mind that this game was developed. When did it come out? 2014. So it's almost 10 years old, 9, 10 years old. There's been a lot of advances in technology and things like that, but the base platform of this, at least from beginning up until version 12, was the same, platform. Even when version 12, which is when I started really getting semi-serious about the game, and that was probably 2016, 2017 maybe. I don't remember when it came out. I'd have to look it up to be exact. But that base back end of the game is still the same. It is hard for them. I understand from the software side, having worked with a lot of software engineers and all that. You have these systems, these back end systems that are old, and you're kind of trying to piece together stuff on top of it. You are, really trying to cobble together, try to bring things up to modern technology, bits and pieces wise. They're almost at the point with MCOC that they're going to have to, in a way, to get some newer features and some things like that, they may have to scrap portions of it or all of it and bring it down for a while and, bring the code into a newer development base. I think they run, Rich the Man had a video on it, on some of the back end systems and all that, and what it's going to cost them. And I don't know enough on the back end of the game on what they run, and I'm not a developer myself. I'm just a manager. Those that don't do manage. So it just, to me, I think that's where some of their issues and all that come from. Other than that, let's go ahead. Yeah, let's go ahead. I've got enough time. I was stalling there a little bit while I looked at my work calendar. Let's go ahead and get these taken care of. And yes, you will see, I did rank my Doom up the whole way. I thought I left him at like rank 5, rank 40, something like that, level 40. I was ranking him up over the weekend, or this last level up. Yeah, so over the weekend, and realized I had ranked up so many mystics lately, I didn't have any more mystic ISO. So I thought I had left him and didn't level him up completely. All right, I think I'll be able to, looking at my time, be able to get the upper 5s done and then call that a stream. Get some work done. Later tonight, I will record my Word video and post it. Depending on what my wife has in store, I may do another stream tonight after Lefty and before Intoxicated Gamer. That's a possibility. Run some more through Arena. Maybe run some BGs, depending on, like I said earlier, depending on what I want to end up doing there. Hold it, she's not awake, and she should not have shrugged off my shock. There we go. Maybe I just messed up. All right. But I am enjoying these streams. I am enjoying doing it, even, talking to myself and kind of doing what I'm doing now. I'm going to be doing this anyway. I'm going to be running the Champs through Arena. Typically, I'd be watching a replay of somebody's stream, or something like that. So doing a stream instead of watching one isn't that much different. Yeah, I'm having to talk. I don't mind talking. I kind of talk all day long in meetings, so this is not anything that's difficult or anything like that. It'll be interesting when and if I do get more people in the streams that want to chat. How well I do at reading and playing the game at the same time. I think I'll be okay. We'll take some practice. It would be nice to get some of that. But, like I said, I am enjoying the streams. I am enjoying doing the videos again. It's been a couple seasons since I did war videos. I've changed the way I did it. I used to spend a lot of time with a third-party software, an outside software, putting in some different information and some different sound effects and things like that, and it would take me a long time to do them. And I've just decided that simpler is better. Let me just kind of explain, what my thought process was going into the fight, what I was wanting to attempt, and what I wanted to try, and how I wanted to fight the fight, and just kind of go that way. I'm not saying I won't, really, not saying I won't do some of that again in the future. It was fun. I did learn the software, but to me, easier if I can just utilize what I've already got, what I'm already set up for, and not have to worry about transferring videos from my phone to my computer to, another software to import them, and then, adding on tracks and then doing a voiceover and things like that. I can cut out several steps the way I've been doing it recently, and I think they're okay. They're not the greatest. I'm not claiming that. There are people that can do a lot better job at it than me. I am still very new at this, still kind of learning OBS. That's still a fairly new piece of software for me. I know there's probably more that I can do with it. Learning how to develop overlays and things like that, so that there's some animations and some exciting things that are going on the screen from time to time, more so than just watching the game. I do have a camera that I've got set up that I can turn on, but I don't like. It doesn't zoom in, so it gives a wider view than what I want. So kind of working on that as part of my next evolution. We'll be turning on the face cam. I want to get a stream deck so that I can have some hotkeys. I know I can set up hotkeys on my keyboard, but don't want to do that. The keyboard, I like being out of the way since I am sitting at my desk in front of a microphone. Much easier to have a little stream deck that I can just press some hotkeys to do some different things. That's going to be probably the next thing I order. I've got to, at some point we'll order an Elgato capture card. Right now I'm just doing OBS and Air Server, which works fine. My wireless network in my house is pretty robust, so I shouldn't have any issues doing that, and haven't so far. So I'm just going to kind of continue that way, but may add in that, just trying to learn to do some different things. Like I said, I want to throw some animations and working on those. Right now, I think the biggest thing I'm working to learn is using Adobe software to create thumbnails. It's kind of the next evolution. I used to use Paint or GIMP. GIMP is a whole lot like Photoshop, where it was a little bit more complicated than what I needed. So now, I am trying to force myself into learning a little bit more on some of the typical things that you would see streamers do. Notifications and all that, while I'm still small, and I expect to be small for quite some time, maybe forever. But it's more for enjoyment. I want to learn how to do it. I want to be able to, kind of just have fun with it. Do different things, have some different different pieces of software and different hardware that, who knows what I'll use them for in the future. And let's see. Let's just go that way. And all right. Almost through the Thanos teams. Then we can get to a real AI that actually hits into you fairly regular, that you can parry for the most part. It doesn't have the health pool that these guys have, and the arena gets much quicker. This is by far the slowest part of arena. These first 15 to 20 matches, this kind of day, what I consider in my mind arena day one. Typically all that I do in the first day is, and a lot of times it's just the 10 early fights. The 10 rounds early on, and then I call it and I take a break. But that was only 45 minutes, so. The other thing, do need to start getting some counters, and one of the things I've been working on inside of Photoshop is kind of a revive counter, so that I can have that on screen for 8.3, just to give people an idea. Because I know a lot of the better players, a lot of the the Brian Grants, the Legacies, the Karate Mikes, and all that, they'll run through it. They'll do it itemless. I have no doubt. I want to have a revive counter out there for kind of the mediocre guy, the guy that's okay, that has a decent roster, has a roster that can come up with counters for the path and counters for the fights and the bosses, but isn't that great playing the game. That's the counter that I always wanted. I always added on 50% at least to anything Legacy or them did. I knew if they used 40, I needed 60. If they, which probably was pretty accurate, especially with some of the Karinas through Labyrinth of Legends, where you had to use like 4-star Star-Lord and things like that. I knew how many they used, and back when you could farm revives, I farmed up like triple the amount, and was pretty close to being 50 to 60% more than what they did. So to me, that is what I expect from the content. I expect them to go itemless, and I know 50 or 60% more than zero is still zero, but I would expect to use, if they do itemless, I expect to use a couple team revives, and some individual revives probably. I expect to have that path where I can get completely tilted and mad and just want to item my way through it, which, honestly, I don't look at as a bad thing. I've got the items. They're there for a reason. They're going to expire in my overflow. I mean, even now, and you can see some of my, like I mentioned earlier, some of my champs are already starting to go through their second revive cycle or a help cycle. To me, they give items for a reason. They give units for a reason. They know there's people like me out there. All right, a couple more. Or actually, we're to an actual name. So we're through the Thanos and Kang teams. All right. Basic arena's in good shape. We got a good start on it. I'll go ahead and finish off my rank 5s. A few more teams there. I think I've got 8 more rounds. And at either 23 or 24 rounds total. Doesn't take quite as long either if you don't let them hit you. There we go. So yeah, I would love it if people, I did put a post out there in the community section in YouTube. I don't use Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. I don't use Facebook, don't use Instagram a whole lot. I am, as I put in my about, I am an older gamer. I have been gaming probably longer than a lot of, I know I've been gaming longer than a lot of my alliance has been alive. I know there's a couple games that I remember being on the alpha testing team for EverQuest. Back in, I think that was 1998 was the alpha, maybe 97, somewhere in that range. Um, so and I wasn't exactly young then. What was I? I was 27, 28 at that point in time. To kind of give you my age without giving you my age. Um, so, you know, not really big into X. Facebook was more my generation, but even that I wasn't too big into. Um, we post some things there occasionally, but social media and me is more about connections than it is, using X to say, hey, look, I'm live. I can jump out there. I do have an account. I do use it from time to time. I will post some things there when I see stuff that's kind of cool in game and all that. People want to send me screenshots or something that way. Can do that. So we'll see. But anyway, as I was saying, I put a post in the community section here in YouTube just to see what people wanted. What type of videos, what content, things like that. I work from home, so I'm at my desk a lot. I can't really stream during meetings and during my work. I can play during my meetings and work sometimes because I am remote and don't have a camera on all the time. But I've got evenings, things like that I can put together some different videos, some different content. Just trying to find something maybe that people want to see that other streamers don't do. Um, Whatever content that may be. Be glad to look into it. I do have a smaller, kind of a second account that I still need to run through and complete seven. Actually, I need to complete 100% Chapter 6, but also Chapter 7 and Chapter 8 aren't 100%. I've run select paths there to grab some items off of them and things like that. That I've got to do there. Not done any of the Karinas on that other account. Still have some of Karinas to do here. Those Abyss runs, I'm not going back and doing those. Maybe when I can have rank 6 stars or rank 6 7 stars go through there, then I'll go back and do them. I have no desire with the hit counters and the way Abyss is kind of designed to go back there and do that. That to me was the runs that I made through there were frustrating enough. I see, Metal Sonic dude, MSD will run through a completely itemless Abyss run, which just boggles my mind. I have no clue how in the hell he does that. That to me is next level, and I'm, happy for him. I am glad for him. I wish I could do it. But there's just no way that my fingers, my brain, and all that will work that way. The only way it's going to be itemless is when I can completely overpower it to the point of, the rewards are so antiquated that there's no point in even doing it other than just to be a completionist. Which is typically what I am in games. I like completing every bit of content, usually fairly quickly. In World of Warcraft, a game that I played a lot, that's how I was. New content would come out, I would complete it quick, and then I'd run to another account and complete that content again on a second character, things like that. That's kind of how I'm built. I want to be 100%. I want to try everything. I want to kind of get the most out of it that I can possibly get. If I find something that I like, a game that I enjoy playing, something along those lines, I play it. I'm a little bit of an addictive personality where I play it a little bit to excess, probably including MCOC. But at the same time, I don't ever let it get in the way of my real life stuff either. If I've got something to do, this is going to wait. if I've got work that's got to get done, game waits. You know, my wife wants to do something, she takes priority. So other than that, it's a hobby, and I tend to not have a whole lot of hobbies because a lot of my hobbies are on the more expensive side. So I pick and choose. And I view this as a cheap hobby. All right, a few more rounds here. I think we've got 5 left, 5, 10. Yep, 5 rounds left. Let's go ahead and get rid of the synergy team just so I can be done with it and not see it sitting there. There we go. Oops, give me 1 second. I do have to respond to something. Okay, there we go. And I may have to jump here after this round. Speaking of work and not letting us get in the way of it. Yep, let me just finish this round, then we'll wrap the stream up from there. Which is fine. It gets me, a good start to the arenas. Let me get a little stream out here, share a little bit of time, spend a little bit of time with the folks that jumped on. I do appreciate all of you that did jump in here and watch and lurk and hang out in the background. I appreciate that. No one really put anything in the chat, so I don't know who it was. I did see people joining and things like that, so I do appreciate it. I do appreciate it when people jump in here. I did not post this one to let anybody know I was going to stream. I just figured see what would happen organically. And why will this Nick Fury not throw a special? The heck with you. I'm trying to throw my special 3. There we go. We'll finish this off. And there we are. What a pain. I think one more fight here. Yep, we'll do this last fight, and then we'll do a little wrap up and kind of go on from there. And we'll see how tanky Iron Man can get here near the end. All right, I do want you to throw your special, though. Oh, the heck with it. If I don't kill you here, I have an invulnerability. So there we go. And I think that's going to be the last round of Arena for the day. Like I said, I do thank those of you that jumped in here and joined me. I greatly appreciate it. I greatly appreciate anybody's support. Any comments that you want to leave, feel free. Be glad to respond to them, help out, do whatever I can, wherever I can. But once again, just want to thank you all, and I hope that you have a great rest of your Monday. Talk to you in the next one.